Today, we strongly condemn Salome Wanaina and Governor Wamatangi for attempting to extort foreign direct investors, international investors in Kenya from New Zealand, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Norway.
Yesterday, most of you were present when you were invited for a press release by one of our investors in Kiambu County, Tatu City, which is a press briefing that did not cast the matters as present in the relationship between the county government of Kiambu and Tatu City in the truthful and correct way. It was a press briefing that was calculated to achieve certain results, and those results were clearly intended to malign the name and person of the governor of Kiambu County and members of staff of this government, and also to cast doubts and malign the government of Kiambu County as it is, because the matters that are indeed factual between that relationship are clear. The documentation is here. We shall be giving you the documentation, and we shall also invite any questions that you have. First, let me read my statement, and then I'll make a few clarifications in between. So we, the county government of Kiambu, feel compelled to address and correct the misleading and malicious claims made by the management of Tatu City regarding the approval of the revised master plan. It is with great dismay that we witness the attempt to tarnish my administration's reputation by spreading grossly distorted information in the matters at hand. First and foremost, my administration values, respects, and appreciates all investors in Kiambu County, and we have a policy to support them all. It is uncustomary for us to address our investors through a press conference. We are, however, compelled to do so, since Preston Mendaho, the Chief Operating Officer of Tatu City, decided to break this unwritten rule. So Tatu City, which has operated in Kiambu for 14 years and has about 5,000 acres of land under development, applied for a revision of their master plan. They wanted to address emerging trends on residential and industrial needs. In their submitted master plan, originally, 406 acres of land had been reserved for public amenities, which the Tatu City management have now downscaled to 103 acres, according to Preston. For land of approximately 5,000 acres, the expected land to be surrendered for public use ought to be about 10%, which translates to about 500 acres of land. This is to address the needs of ordinary members of public, who include the lower cadre, workers within the industrial park, and residential areas, such as those in the industries, housekeepers, cleaners, security personnel, and their families. These public amenities will also serve the larger population in Ruiru municipality and the entire of Kiambu County. Since its formation 14 years ago, Tatu City has not surrendered any part, not even an inch, of land to the county government of Kiambu as prescribed by law. The county government of Kiambu has requested Tatu City to surrender land for public use as per the Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019, popularly known as PLUPA, and the Physical and Land Use Planning Development Permission and Control General Regulations of 2021. Also, Section 55, 58, and the third schedule, Section 7, and Section 7 of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act guides the subdivision, amalgamation, and surrender of public land. These regulations mandate private developers to allocate land for public facilities such as schools, hospitals, fire stations, recreation areas, police stations, playgrounds, and other public utilities. Regulation 9, 3, and 4 of the Physical and Land Use Planning, Development, Permission, and Control General Regulations 2021 further adds, where required by the county executive member, suitable and adequate land shall be surrendered by the applicant at no cost to the county government for open spaces, amenities, recreational facilities, road reserves, a public purpose relating to the area to be subdivided for road or widening, for road widening. Public purpose is defined to mean land designated for use by public, for public, and any public purpose including public buildings, schools, libraries, hospitals, factories, regional institutions, and public housing. Public purpose includes housing for public or civil servants. The Land Registration Act 2012 explicitly states that land surrendered for public purposes shall be registered in the name of the county government or the cabinet secretary responsible for finance matters. Therefore, it is insincere for the management of Tatu City to claim that we are seeking land for private use. The county government of Kiambu has requested land to be surrendered by Tatu City solely for public utility purposes. Contrary to the allegations, my administration is not seeking land for personal or individual use. Our track record on public land speaks for itself. As governor, I have consistently prioritized the protection and proper utilization of public land, and this is a position that I will not bend or compromise. This is the position I expressed during my first meeting with Tatu City management, including Preston, on December 8th, 2023, and the video recordings are available. We have the video there. After I read this statement, we'll play it so that you are able to see what transpired between myself, the management of Kiambu County, and the management of Tatu City at that first and only meeting. And I want to emphasize, as I read this, that there has been only one physical meeting between me as the governor and the management of Tatu City regarding the matters of the revised master plan. All other communication has been via correspondence, and secondly, through a lawyer who was sent here to represent Tatu City and consult with us, which I will be explaining. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, let me state the facts as they are. During various meetings, some of which I have personally attended, and through several correspondences, we have provided copies of the correspondence. We will give you copies each. We have been unequivocal about what Tatu City is required to do to meet the expectations of the people of Kiambu. The key issue has been setting aside land for public use. The county government of Kiambu has requested Tatu City to surrender land as per the Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019, PLUPA, I think I've read that, and the Physical and Land Use Planning, Development, Permission, Control General Regulations 2021. I've also stated about Section 25, Section 55, 58, and Schedule 7 of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, which guides subdivision, amalgamation, and surrender of public land. That I've also read about the regulation 110.2 let me just take that again, that these regulations mandate private developers allocate land for public facilities such as schools, hospitals, fire stations, recreational areas, police stations, playgrounds, and other public utilities. Regulation 10.2, Physical and Land Use Planning, Development, Permission, and Control General, Regulations 2021 further adds that where required by the county executive member, suitable and adequate land shall be surrendered by the applicant at no cost to the county government for open spaces, amenities, recreation facilities, road reserves, and for public purpose relating to the area to be subdivided, and as I said, for road widening. The part on public purpose, I think that one, as I had read. As a condition for reviewing and approving the master plan, the county government of Kiambu has officially, in writing, requested Tatu City to surrender land for public amenities, including 10 acres for social housing to accommodate low cadre workers within the industrial park, and the residential areas such as those in the industries, for housekeepers, cleaners, security personnel, and their families. We also requested 44 acres for a stadium, community center, social hall, hospital, and administration offices. 2 acres for the construction of the governor's official residence. In accordance with the law and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC guidelines, for the avoidance of doubt, this will be a public facility registered in the name of the county government and not in the governor's name. My private property, not in the governor's name, and is not private property. That is contained in a gazette notice, and circular is provided. The SRC circular is specific on these 2 acres of land. We have that in the bundle that we'll give you. It's also important to note that the 54 acres requested is just but a drop in the ocean of the 406 acres that were earmarked for public use during the approval of the initial master plan. As I said earlier, that the land under development in Tatu City right now is about 5,000 acres. So if you calculate that, we've said at 10%, that tells you it's approximately 500 acres. But we've also confirmed that in the earlier request for the approval of the master plan, 406 acres had already been set aside for public use. So it is therefore dishonest for Preston under the tutorship of a few politicians, and this we are clear about, because what Preston was doing yesterday is playing to the gallery and dancing to political tunes which he had been lured into, thinking that they could coerce us by threatening that they are going to scandalize us, that we would give in. So it is therefore dishonest that Preston, under the tutorship of a few politicians of ill will, chose to mislead the public with defamatory and offensive statements against the county government and its leadership during the press conference yesterday. And I dare say that it is very unbecoming, very unbecoming. It's unprecedented that a man of Preston's standing, with the confidence that has been given to him by a lot of investors, whom we welcome, as I said, in Kiambu, and whom we respect and whom we shall protect, should opt to give himself up to political schemes and thinking that we as a county government are going to bend the law. A man of present standing should be aware that there are organs of government mandated with investigations of merit-worthy and credible claims, and he chose to play to the gallery by addressing a press conference. While of course it is clear that if he had made any merit of distortion, of being extorted, then he knows all the organs. The entity has been here for 14 years. He knows that we have the DCI, we have the police, we have EACC. There are credible places where you make allegations if they are truthful. But calling for a press conference and saying that he loves the media, we all love the media, but we know what to take where. And that was just intended to achieve one goal, to scandalize us, with the intention of scaring us that as political leaders will be scared not to state facts as they are. So we have been in touch with the management of Tatu City as evidenced in the following correspondences. We have them here, we will share with the media. There was a letter that was dated September 18th, 2023, that was shared also with the National Director for Physical Land Use and Planning on the approval of the master plan. There is a letter dated September 26, 2023 to Tatu City as a response to the outstanding issues. There is a letter dated 8th of December 2023 where we discuss the outstanding issues again relating to the approval, and a letter dated 7th of March 2024, a response to the National Director on the amended physical and land use plan. There was a letter dated again on the 16th of April 2024 on the pending issues. Further correspondence also again was received by us via an email on the 6th of July 2024 by Mr. Preston himself, where he threatened the CEC lands that within one day, if she did not append her signature, then we would face the consequences. That was just one day before he called the press conference. But a letter had come first via email threatening the CEC with dire consequences if she did not sign the master plan approval within one day. There was also a meeting here in my office with lawyers who had been sent by Tatu City. And what we need to clear here, which I'll also explain with facts, is that when the first lawyers were sent by Tatu City, we explained the circumstances and the law that all public land should vest as per the Constitution in the county government. The lawyer who had been sent here agreed with us. And it is apparent that when that lawyer whom they had sent themselves agreed and promised that she was going to have a discussion with Tatu City and impress upon them the facts that they cannot negotiate what is provided for in the law about the custody of public land in the county government. It's apparent they did not like that lawyer after that. So yesterday when they were sending other correspondence, indeed they were using a different lawyer who may have advised them differently. The county government of Kiambu remains committed to providing a conducive environment for both local and foreign investors, recognizing the crucial role in job creation and economic growth in our county. And this remains our topmost commitment. Our doors remain open for constructive engagement with all investors, including Tatu City. We are more than willing to continue the conversation without compromising public trust and expectations. And prior to the press conference at Tatu City yesterday, the county government had also written a letter that was dated 8th of July 2024, in which we had invited the management of Tatu City to a meeting on Tuesday, the 16th July of 2024 to address those pending matters. That is this coming Tuesday. But apparently, Mr. Preston had already written an email which he was threatening the CEC lands with dire consequences if she did not append her signature to that approval. And just to make matters clear so that we can close and allow any questions that may be there. Number one, I said that in the one and only physical engagement we have had with Tatu City, we went there as the government of Kiambu. And for clarity once more, let me state that since 14 years ago, not 1 inch of land, 1 inch out of the entire 5,000 acres that has been developed, has ever been surrendered to the county government of Kiambu. I made this position very clear when we went for our first meeting, that to take care of all those people who work in Tatu City and walk there every day, for those thousands of house helps, watchmen, the street sweepers, all the lawn mowers and gardeners and factory workers who are going to be working in those factories, and the more than 22,000 houses they are building to sell to people of means. But the children of those house helps, the sons and daughters of those watchmen who will be working there, requires to be secured by the law and provided for amenities where the children can go to school, where they themselves can go and seek the services of a police station, where when the daughter of a house help or a cleaner falls sick, they can go to an affordable hospital within the premises. And that is why the law, as provided, protects the poor and also secures the rights of those that have means and that are rich. In this case, the law requiring surrender of public land is intended to protect the weak in community. So when the schools in Tatu City charge a premium fee to educate a child of one that is blessed with means at hundreds of thousands of shillings per term, it is the requirement of law that that land set aside should also have an ECD class for the son of a watchman in Tatu City. And as I said, when we went to the first meeting, I made that clear, that the governor of Kiambu and our administration, neither Kiambu County as a whole, are not interested in land for any other use other than for public use. So that impression that was created is erroneous. We have a clip there that I want to be played so that you can see what transpired in our meeting with Preston and his team the first day when we went there, and the resolutions that were made. So you can just play it so that members of the media can see and exactly what I said in that meeting.
Which also gives us a unit of the critical infrastructure protection. And we find we're at Tatu City, so we're regulated by the government.
You can rewind it so that they can all set first. Why don't you rewind it? So let them first set, because it's important for it to be clear. What did we say and where are we?
Which also gives us a unit of the critical infrastructure. We find we're at Tatu City, so we're regulated by the government, but of course.
We are not interested in a means of land at all, neither for the governor or for any of my people, and it is my policy that our advance signature is our integrity. We are changing this story the way it has been. When it comes to matters that we must all agree upon, that this requires to be done in public interest, in the interest of a better tomorrow for our children and our citizens. On those ones we are very firm.
So maybe so that I conclude the few things that I wanted to say. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So for clarity painting the true and correct picture. You have seen firsthand, and you have heard my words when I was in that press conference, when I was in that conference and the meeting that had been invited. We had been invited by Tatu City to discuss this matter. My words were unequivocal on that day, and the date is there. That was on the 8th of December 2023. And my remarks remain unchanged. And I want Preston, wherever he is, to hear those words, to remind himself and play. He has that recording of our first meeting. They also recorded the meeting. And I said to them with uncertain terms that our bond is our integrity. And that is the standard I've upheld in Kiambu since I became governor. And I will still uphold it. I will not be bent. And as condescending as Preston may be, because his attitude is extremely condescending, he's just short of still wearing that colonial mentality, where he thinks that every black man, be it a governor who is, has a price tag. I said we don't have. As a governor, I cannot be lured. Neither can I be coerced. My position is the same, even today, that the law must be followed. The law must be followed. It is very clear. We have people, and I remember on that day also telling the Tatu City team that my government is struggling in various areas. We are struggling in Mweki, in Roiro, because we can't find a single inch of land to build an ECD class for the entire of almost 500,000 people in Mweki, in Roiro. The same story is replicated in Kio Ward, in Kahawa Sukari, everywhere. I have numerous court cases today that are in court where we have been sued by previous land developers like Tatu City, who developed Kahawa Sukari. And after that, they took up all the private land, all the public land they had set aside, because they insisted on retaining the public land in their name. The same thing happened to all the other subdividers of land when they were developing. And because the law was not followed. What will happen is, after the entire of the 5,000 acres in Tatu City has been uptaken, then you are going to have a cluster of the lowly, the dejected, the wretched of society. What will happen is, just outside Tatu City, you're going to have another Githogoro. And I want people of this county to understand, and this country to understand, the reason why you have Githogoro there, where people live in subhuman conditions, is because those that have been there in leadership failed to stand up for their people, against people who are condescending, like Preston, against people who label others, and they think just because they have the back that everything must be followed. So we want to encourage all the investors in Tatu City, private, foreign, and local, that they come to Kiambu County. As we uphold the law that protects the poor, we shall also uphold the law that also ensures that those that are investing also have their say, they will have their way, they will have what they're supposed to have as investors. But the balance must be upheld. We are all children of God, of one God. And we have a right that is enshrined here in this country, in our constitution. So all those things that were being said there yesterday, there was an impression that was persistently trying to be created, that there was 2 acres of land that the governor wanted for his house. It is akin to saying that Moi Kibaki, when he was president, and God rest his soul, that he would have gone home with State House and taken it to Nyeri. It is akin to saying that when President Moi was president, and God rest his soul too, that he would have taken State House to Kabarak. That is intentional misleading. The law is here. These are documents which will give you. This is the Gazette notice and a notice by SRC dated as early as 2013. 2013, the first year of devolution, that it is incumbent upon every county government to ensure that the officers from the Speaker of the County Assembly to the Deputy Speaker, to the Deputy Governor and the Governor, that those governments have built institutions, including residential and official residences for those officers, to save the public from the house allowances. And let it be known, and I'm sure all the governors will say the same thing. The house allowance for governors was withdrawn a long time ago. So for governors like me and all the other counties who have not yet constructed an official residence, do not have house allowance, and they don't have houses to live in. That's how we live. And those are the facts. But I would also ask anyone of a different view whether the residence of the DCC in Kiambu is a private property. The DCC comes there and he lives because national government already built residential houses for their personnel. That is the requirement of law, and it is here. So that twist, and the reason why there was an insistence that there is 2 acres, which was being called 2 acres for a house, is because there was an intention to remove the limelight from the real issues. The real issues are that this letter that was shared and sent to Tatu City enumerates all the public facilities, from the hospitals to the police station to the primary schools, that are supposed to be surrendered as per plupa to be in the hands of the county government for security of those generations. Lastly, let me address the issue of, once public land has been surrendered, can a private developer then go back and seek again to retake and reallocate the same surrendered public facility? And that is the mischief that most of the developers are trying to play at. That they will allocate land for approval at approval level so that they can get the approval. Once you give them the approval and they have said we have surrendered this land for a school, they will insist that let this land remain under the name of the developer. After a few years or months, then they will seek a buyer. And if a buyer says where you had allocated the school is what they want, they run again and say we want to change the size of that land, even the location of that land, to another place. And this is one of the things that in the revision of the master plan, that's one of the things that Tatu City was trying to do, to change some of the earlier provided for public amenities. So in conclusion, we have nothing against Tatu City. We shall support Tatu City as an entity and the investors who have come to Kiambu. We are aware that we need jobs. We are going to ensure that we do the best that we can, but we are not going to allow the likes of Preston, and I want to single him out as an individual because he is not Tatu City. Tatu City is the entire entity. He is an employee of Tatu City. And he should do better on behalf of the investors who have entrusted him with that position, by not coming here to play local politics and mishandle matters. And he should know that we should live in this space respecting each other's role and ensuring that we just find compromise. And where the law has to be followed, then the law must be followed. So my conclusion is that as governor of Kiambu, there is no price on my neck that will make me bend. And you know, if it were not for you members of the fourth estate, I would have invited you to my residence, my private residence, just to confirm that I have my own house. So I don't need another one to be given by Preston. I live here in Kiambu. I live in Wangige. I have a home there. I have a wife. I have children. We all live there and we are happy. So we don't need another one. But what we need is to ensure that those people there in Ruiru, in the other places, who will come to be laborers there, will have been preceded by a governor who has the guts to stand up for truth and family. So, we are a free country, though, ladies and gentlemen, and though others may have different opinions, we are factual and we shall be guided by the law. So that's all I have to state. And I want to ask Preston that as immediately as possible, he tenders a public apology for having intentionally called a press conference to malign my name as an individual and my government. And I'll be waiting for him to do that as quickly as possible. In the absence of a public apology, I will seek redress in a court of law as an individual, because that was intended to malign me as a person. So thank you very much.